Okay, I hope that this is good enough, because this is what you're getting. Hi, my name is Jalen. I just turned 23 in December. I thought it would be fun to do a little 23 things that I've learned since turning 23. I have my balcony door open in case you hear like cars going by or like psychopaths. Don't worry about it. I have my little doggy over here. Love him so much. Let's get started. The first thing is the habits you build today will determine your tomorrow. I have recently started going to the gym again after a good 2-year stint of not going. I used to be really active and really fit, and I think that I just went through a phase where I had other priorities and I just wasn't focusing on myself. So a goal I've had this year was to be consistent in that. But it doesn't even have to be like working out. It could be as simple as drinking more water, practicing better hygiene, etc. Just know that what you do today is going to set you up for what your tomorrow is going to look like. So be mindful of the choices you're making every day, the people you're hanging around, the tattoos you're getting, the food you're eating, the drinks you're drinking, etc. Number 2, the only opinion that truly matters is your own. And what I mean by this is, yes, it's okay to value the opinions of other people by which you admire or want to be like. But at the end of the day, continuing to make choices based on how you think other people are going to perceive you, or if you're finally going to be deemed smart enough or funny enough or kind enough, is never going to get you to a point where you are happy or you are fulfilled. If you're constantly trying to chase this perception of what other people want you to be, you know what I mean? So it's your opinion is the only opinion that should ever actually matter to you. Something else that I've been practicing this pretty regularly, especially in the past year, is to delete or unfollow every person who makes you feel bad. I don't mean Aunt Janice who said fuck you one time. I mean the supermodels that you constantly compare your body image to, or someone who is always spewing hate or is being derogatory, just people like that. I've even cut off friends from my past because they've chosen to make choices in their life that don't align with where I want to see myself and the kind of people that I would want to be around. Number 4, grief is proof that love is still exchanged between two people. I lost my dad when I was 19 to suicide, and while it continues to be one of the most challenging mountains I've ever had to climb in my youth, I am fully aware of the fact that I have only just begun this journey, that there is much more in store for me moving forward that used to really honestly terrify me. Now I think I look at it more as an opportunity for me to further understand who I am, and it will honestly better prepare me for the grief of other people whom I love. I know that the only death that will probably be as challenging as my father's is going to be my mother's and my husband's. Grief is very raw. It's very vivid. It lives with you for years and years and years and years. And for a very long time, I allowed it to consume me, and I used it as an excuse to not try harder, to be a better friend, to be a better daughter. I allowed it to give me an excuse to drink, to smoke pot, to lie to people, to not change, to not grow, because I didn't think that it was genuinely going to make me feel better, because ultimately nothing was going to bring my dad back. Number 5, no one is responsible for meeting your expectations of them. What I mean by this is, you're going to have people in your life whom you care for and you love dearly and deeply. However, all of those people are going to disappoint you at some point or another. And if they don't, it's too good to be true. And I mean that with all of the love in my heart. I see a lot of people refusing to grow and change or to communicate in their romantic relationships because they think that the other person should just get it. And that's just never the case. You have to communicate your boundaries, your expectations. People are going to disappoint you. They're going to let you down. They're going to pick red when you want them to pick blue. That's just the name of the game. And the sooner that you realize that you're not entitled to the experience that you want from someone, the better your relationships are going to be. Acknowledge people is my number 6. I learned the value in this just a few months ago, I work in a very, very big corporation. I work in a hospital. And so often I would find myself becoming kind of frustrated or feeling like almost like losing faith in humanity, because I would realize that I'm walking by these people and I'm smiling and I'm saying hi and no one's acknowledging me. And it made me realize how important it is to understand that everyone is on their own journey. Everyone has an issue that inflicts as much pain as maybe your biggest issue does to you. Everybody has their favorite color and their favorite book and things that hurt their feelings, and you know what I mean? Like, we're all such complex people. I feel like we're all so self-centered when it comes to the ways in which we like portray ourselves in the world. And I've just grown into a place where I recognize that I don't always want to be that way. I want to be the person that you remember because she smiled at you, because she was kind to you, even if you felt like you didn't quite deserve it. Like, acknowledging that people are also humans, and like, do unto them what you would want done unto you, with reason, of course, within reason. But I just think that it's very beautiful and it's meaningful and it's impactful in other people's lives whenever you show up that way. And honestly, it's made me a happier person, because now I don't sit around waiting for other people to acknowledge me. Now I just recognize that I'm putting that information in their pocket simply by doing. Maybe it'll pass on to someone else who needs it. Who knows? That's not my responsibility anymore. Number 7 is forgiveness is the key to your pain. I feel like this kind of goes along the same wavelength of acknowledging people. Is forgiveness is hard when you're doing it with intention. I know that it may seem challenging to forgive people, even if they've been wrong to you. And it's okay for you to want that apology also, but just know that it may never come in the form by which is going to help you heal. It just isn't. True forgiveness does not come from an apology. True forgiveness comes from changed behavior. So when a person is portraying that to you, that they are willing to change and make a difference and acknowledge their wrongdoings, that's admirable, and that you as a fellow adult should also encompass that same quality of recognizing that they're putting in the effort, that they want to be different, they want to change. And I think that should be received with open arms, because that's what you would want, right? You would want someone to recognize that you're genuinely trying to be better, and that you want to be different. So of course, allow that to come into you, and don't sit there and hide behind this feeling or this insecurity that it's not real, that it's not that. All of that will come to fruition eventually. I think that your job in that moment is to give people grace within reason. Please remember that everything is within reason. I don't think that you should like forgive a cheating ex 400 times because, oh, he's being different now. Like, that's not what I mean. Number 8 is healing is not a one-time event. Healing is a practice. I learned this from a book by Brianna Weiss called When You're Ready, This Is How You Heal. I love it to death. Highly recommend. Not sponsored, obviously. This probably has like 40 views. In that book, she goes into detail about the importance of kind of pivoting from the mentality of, okay, once I feel better, that must mean that I am inept from being hurt again. And that is so far from the truth. Healing is a practice. It is something that you get better at with practice. Number 9 is there is a difference in family, friends, acquaintances, and coworkers. And the sooner that you recognize the difference, the better off you will be. I said this to my best friend, like an analogy that I've said forever ago, and she still repeats it back to me sometimes whenever I come to her and I'm expressing my frustration with thinking that I was closer to somebody or that I was entitled to a certain relationship with someone. She always says to me, you're a tree, and some people are going to be leaves, some people will be branches, and some people will be your roots. And knowing the difference in those people is so important. Like, coworkers and acquaintances are going to be your leaves. They're going to be there seasonally, and they may be lots of fun and beautiful colors, and they may bring you lots of joy, but at the end of the day, you know that they're going to leave eventually. Your branches are people that are going to be like your friends, you know? Sometimes your family can even be branches too. Let's be super real about that. Branches are people who stick with you for longer periods of time, but at the end of the day, they're not really feeding into you as a person, into your soul. Your roots are your family, your friends, the people who you hold closest to you. You should only really have about 4 or 5 of these people that you consider closest to you. If you have more than that, fuck yeah, good for you. But if not, I feel you, because I got 2 of them motherfuckers right there. People who are your roots are the ones that ground you, that keep you solid. They're the people that show up for you when you're at your worst, when you're at your best. Your roots are lifelong partners in this life. And you should be very, very, very picky when it comes to who you choose to be your roots. Yes, ma'am. Number 10, other people's opinions of you are none of your business. Stop wasting time trying to change other people's perspectives about who you are. Who cares? Why would you want to be any less of who you are just because it makes little Susie Lou uncomfortable? I had to learn this the hard way, especially in my professional life, because I realized that I spend so much time trying to come off like a certain person or trying to behave in a certain way that isn't true to who I am at the end of the day. And why would I continue to be unhappy and be so focused on changing other people's opinions of who I am? Why? Why? If you can give me one good reason as to why you should care about someone else's opinion of you, please let me know. Because I just, at this point in my life, at my ripe age of 23, I just cannot see a purpose for it anymore. Number 11. This one's funny to me because I feel like I don't have a leg to stand on, because I've occasionally gone through periods of sobriety all throughout my entire 20s. And they never lasted very long. I actually recently watched a Tana Mongeau video where she talks about being sober for a year. It made me recognize that, damn, I had no idea that this person was struggling so heavily until she came out and was so vulnerable expressing her sobriety story. And I think for a lot of people, if it kind of puts it in perspective that, damn, we really are all just humans and we're all experiencing our own struggles internally. And number 11 for me is that being sober is fun. I have been completely sober from alcohol and marijuana for a month. What I can say to you at this point is I remember things clearly. I'm showing up for things differently. I want to progress my life educationally, friendship, relationships, all of those things. I want to progress those into places that I know I'm capable of being and capable of showing up as. In ways that I used to never know how, for a very long time, especially after my dad passed away. I was 19 when he passed away. I've smoked pot almost every day of my life since I was 15 years old. I was predispositioned to be an addict. Both of my parents were addicts. My dad was a raging alcoholic. It was a whole thing. We'll get into that later. But I realized recently that every time I tried to be sober before, it was because it was the niche thing to do, the cool thing to do. Oh, I can't get high anymore. I must need to take a tolerance break. Whereas now, my mentality going into it, thank you for Tana Mongeau. My mentality going into it is, how healthy can I be? If I'm putting all this work in to make my brain, my heart, my feelings healthier, why would I not want to physically also be a healthier person? And if you do enough research on the effects of long-term usage of marijuana, THC, psilocybin, even abusing fucking Tylenol, bro, it's all crazy. But just realizing that your body really is a temple, and if you want to be here for a long time, you have to make choices today that are going to determine what you're going to feel like and look like tomorrow. If I would have continued down the path that I was on when I was drinking when I was 19, 20, 21, we all go through that phase of kind of being party kids. But looking back in retrospect now, I realize how much I was just lost in it. It was the tool that I used to not deal with my shit. And I think that I'm doing myself such a disservice by anytime I feel stressed out, anytime I feel pissed off, anytime I feel betrayed, I would just run to a joint or a bottle of Crown. When I look back at myself in those times, I want to hold her and I want to tell her I know that you are hurting. Can we stop hurting so we can enjoy what little bit of this experience is meant to bring us, as opposed to just using it to damper down any real feeling that we've had? I've cried more in the past month than I have in the past 3 years, guys. 3 years. Because I just never let myself feel anything. I was so afraid of feeling those ways that I would just ignore it forever. It was honestly kind of fucking crazy. The few individuals that knew me when I was 19 years old, especially right when my father first passed away, because God, was I a train wreck. God, was I making all the wrong decisions and just being an absolute piece of shit, an awful person, not making decisions that I know now I would have never made in the right mind, in a sober mind of me. Number 12 is age does not equate to knowledge. How you use your knowledge is going to define your age at the end of the day. Your emotional age, should I say. I have met a lot of people who are well into their 40s, well into their 50s, and the ways in which they treat people, talk to people, carry themselves, hold their relationships, hold down their jobs. I mean, I could go on and on and on. It makes me wonder how they got that far. And not because I'm being shitty or because I think that they're like some awful people, but it's just, damn, have you never sat down with yourself for 5 seconds and realized that maybe you could like work on some things? You know? Maybe? It's okay to have to reteach yourself some things, but when you learn something important, please learn it the first time. Because I guarantee you that lessons are hidden in every part of your life. It is your job to decipher them and put them in your back pocket to use later. 13. Do not change your character because someone else sucks. I know people who are genuinely very sweet, very charismatic, respectful, kind, etc. And I see them making choices whenever they're put in a position where someone is treating them badly, where they almost mimic that person's behavior. And I always want to preach to them the importance of not allowing other people's treatment of you to dictate how you treat them. As hard as that may be in the moment, I totally get it. I'm still guilty of it right now. I think that it will take me a lot of practice to get good at that one, because it is your first instinct. If you're being nice to somebody and they start being hateful to you, why would you not want to be like, who are you talking to like that? But what that does is take you out of your character, and you should never let anybody take you out of your character, baby. That is not the name of the game. That is not the rule. That's not the sweet spot. Like, that's not going to do nothing but paint you in a bad light. And you deserve better than that. You deserve better than stooping down to someone's level just because it feels good in the moment. Like, don't let anybody else take you out of your character just because they can't match like your grace and your positivity and your forgiveness. 14, lying, no matter how small, is the first step in losing you. Lying is just a way to hide from yourself. If anybody deserves to know who you truly are, it is you. You don't have to like meet up to some invisible expectation that you think other people have set in your mind just to be good enough. Like there never is good enough. There never is smart enough. There never is better. It's not any of those things. All of us are so uniquely and intricately different that it's almost laughable to ever think that it's gonna be like you have to lie to like prove yourself. Like, for what? For what? Someone might not think you're cool. Okay. Someone doesn't think you're cool. So, who cares? Do you have to care? You don't have to care. You're choosing to care. You know what I mean? Okay. 15 is life tastes sweeter when you stop chasing the sugar and you become it. Sit on that one for a minute, sis, because let me just elaborate. Like coffee, I like coffee. I like milk and sugar with a little bit of coffee. That's really how I am. But what I mean by that is we grow up in a society that teaches us that once we have a certain amount of something, that we will feel fulfilled, that will be, you know, the peak of the mountain, whether that be fame, success, whatever you want to name it. We are raised and brought up in a society that teaches us that we have to reach a certain place in order to feel fulfilled, to be good enough, to like reach a certain goal. And I think that when you really sit down with yourself and you kind of come to a place where you recognize that it really has nothing to do with a certain tangible or achievable thing, it really is the conversations and the behaviors and the habits and the choices that you make within yourself that make life worth living. Whoa. Life becomes sweeter when you realize that you are the one that's in control. There's never gonna be something that's gonna like make it all make sense. It's you and the steps that you are taking right now that are gonna build up this place within yourself and in the life around you that's good, that makes you happy. Number 16 is grass is green where you water it. And that kind of plays into like life tastes sweeter whenever you stop searching for the sugar and you become it. Grass is green where you water it. That pretty much just means stop chasing this idyllic version of yourself and thinking that that's finally gonna make you feel good enough. Like, it's just never gonna be. Don't give up on something so soon just because it's not going the way that you want it to be. Sometimes enduring and persevering is indeed the key to eating the fruits of your labor. I like that. That's good. Number 17 is don't go looking for comfort in arms that broke you. I fucking love this one. This shit is crazy. Because tell me how many times you done been in a relationship with some idiot that done broke your heart, cheated on you, fucked around, done this, done that, stole your car, broke your windows, whatever it may be, stole your phone, and then they break your heart and you crying about them, and then they text you and you're like, oh my God, do you want to cuddle? Do you want to love me? Girl, tell me you're being so for real right now. Oh, sorry, my husband's here. I was interrupted by my husband coming home yesterday. And I think I was on number 15, number 17, don't go looking for comfort in arms that broke you. I don't know if I finished my thought on that. I'll have to like piece something together, but sorry, hang on. Look at this fucking thing. I just hit my other dog. Oh my goodness, Bob, are you okay? Mom's trying to make us YouTube famous, bro. Scooch. Anyway. To wrap up my last thought, respect yourself enough to not seek validation from the person who tried to rob you of it. Period. Number 18, life can only be understood backwards, but must be lived forwards. This is another quote that I fucking love so much. You really only understand why things took place in your life and how they impacted you whenever you can step back and look at the past. However, you're not able to do any of that if you don't just keep on waking up and keep getting dressed and keep going to work and keep showing up for you. You have to have enough faith in yourself to know that you are capable of making the right decisions right now that will put you in the path of where you want to be. And you're never going to be able to reap the benefits of all that work you put in until you go through it. You know, the best way through a storm is through, babe. It's through. Number 19, staying in love is a choice, not a feeling. I had to learn this in my current relationship because for a very long time, I always had this thought in my head of what a relationship was supposed to look like. The love stories that I admired, I know it seems cliche and cheesy, were like stories that I read, movies that I watched. Not that everything's perfect in that kind of way, but just the way that they would care for each other, just the way that they were protective. Like, I always admired those kind of relationships, and that's something that I wanted for myself. And so whenever I started dating and I realized that not everybody is willing to give you that kind of trust, that kind of effort, that kind of energy, it was like hard for me to accept that. Because yes, the older you get, the more you realize that love is not meant to be a fairy tale. But I don't think it's wrong, especially as a woman, for me to want to be treated well and be treated like a priority and my feelings to be validated and for me to be respected and heard in my relationships. And it took me a long time to get out of the habit of accepting the bare minimum, because that was the only thing that I was receiving from these guys that I was choosing to bring into my life, because I wanted so badly to be qualified as good enough for them that they would finally give me the love that I genuinely wanted. But what it comes down to is you accept the love you think you deserve. Point blank, period. When you get that in your head and you realize I am tolerating a behavior from someone because I'm hoping that it might change later. Staying in love is a choice. Actively finding solutions to your problems, wanting to understand how a person wants to be loved, not just how you're capable of loving them, is such a fucking wonderful tool when you are in love with somebody, because that keeps your spark alive. If you can love somebody in their love language, God, I'll tell you what, girl, you will see a whole new side of a person whenever you allow them to flourish and blossom as like the human that they are, without being constrained behind this little box that you have built for them. And number 20, this is kind of funny. No one will ever truly understand you. No one is you. No one's walked in your shoes, worn the same clothes, had the same relationships. No one does the same thing as you every single day. And even if they did, I'm sure that they would still have a different perspective. Let go of this want, especially in your adult life, to be understood. Because the longer you chase this ideal of, well, if they just knew where I was coming from, if they just understood my motives and my goals, it would be different. It's not your responsibility to prove to anybody else that you have good intentions, that you are worthy of trust and loyalty and commitment. And I mean that interchangeably with any relationship, whether that be a job, a friendship, choices you make on what you wear, anything. If it makes sense to you and it makes you happy, that's the only thing that should matter to you. Number 21, no one is coming to save you. And I say that while I hold your hand. No one is coming to save you. Not some rich uncle who you didn't know about, not some secret trust fund, not some boy who will have all the answers. No one is going to come save you, especially from yourself. You have to wake up every day and decide that you are or you are not going to keep making the choices that you are making. You have to wake up and be brave enough to look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I may have wasted the last X amount of years, but I'm not going to continue to do the things and put myself in these cycles that are going to perpetuate this negativity and these feelings that I feel. You have to wake up and decide that you've had enough and that you're not going to do it anymore. And that no one is going to wake up and hold your hand and come to you and say, hey, Jalen, today we're going to grieve your dad. Hey, Jalen, today we're going to get over that one ex that cheated on you 1,000,000 times and you forgave him. No one's going to give you the cheat code. You have to make the decision that you're ready and you're brave enough and you have the tools within yourself to move on, to grow past it, to save money, live better, Walmart, to be sober. These are things that I am taking to heart a lot right now. And I put myself in a situation where I was 1,500 miles away from anybody who was ever going to actually give me any support. If I didn't pay my rent, girl, I was in my car. If I didn't pay my rent, girl, I was in my car. Like that's how deep in the thick of it I was. And it made me realize that I have to trust myself, because at the end of the day, I cannot rely on anyone else to do what needs to be done besides what I am doing. 22, this is for the girls, or for anybody who is opening up this chapter of their life of self-love, because self-love isn't just healing. It's not just all these big made up words about finding peace and forgiving people. Self-love is slowing down. It's romanticizing your life. It is actively choosing to fall in love with the person that you see in the mirror. That is the healing that I most enjoy. Number 22 is double shampoo. floss, shave, put your laundry away. The small gestures and the small things you do that say, I love me, those are the things that are really going to make it easier to wake up and say, damn, I don't want to be depressed anymore. And how can I be depressed when my house is clean, my bed is made, I have a cute outfit on, my hair is clean, I feel good, I look good, I perform good, I show up good. That's the ultimate form of self-love for me, is whenever I put into my physical being so that way I can nourish the spiritual one as well. 23. 23 and me. I've been making jokes a lot to my husband and my mom about my frontal lobe is developing. And it's so funny to me because I've definitely noticed an immense progression, especially since I've been sober. Because I think that my brain is just finally healing from 9 years of straight smoking pot every day. But when you die, they say 7 minutes of your life are going to flash before your eyes, that your brain is alive for 7 minutes. I always say to people when they ask me, what is your biggest fear? My biggest fear is when I die, not enjoying at least those 7 minutes. Is it a highlight reel? Hopefully. But what if it is 7 minutes showing you all the things that made your life harder, all of your mistakes, all of your roadblocks, all of your traumas? Wouldn't you like to sit with yourself when you leave this earth and be able to experience those 7 minutes and know that you did the best that you could within your power, within your reach, within your knowledge to overcome and move past all of that shit that it takes to just be a functional human? I know now what I didn't know last year and the year before that, and I hope that whenever I make this video when I'm 24 and I'm 25 and I'm 45 and I'm 55, even if I don't post it on the internet, that I am confident when I say that I will love my 7 minutes, because life is coming from you, it's not coming at you, and it takes time to understand that. Do hope that when you get the opportunity to experience what that is like, you are proud of the images that you witness, that you took charge of your life, that you made decisions and choices that brought you joy, and you wrote a good story, man. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy for it to be a good story. When you step into a place where you realize that we're all gonna die and we're all gonna end up in the same dirt, underneath the same moon and the same sun, and there's still gonna be about 10 to 25 people that are gonna think of us for about 50 years, and then they're not gonna know who the fuck we are anymore, bro. It just makes you realize how short we have on this earth, and you deserve to have a life that you are not ashamed of, that you do not feel like you did not live fully. You deserve to live your life fully. You deserve to heal. You deserve loyalty. You deserve justice. You deserve to be listened to. You deserve to have good people in your life. You deserve to double shampoo and do your laundry. You deserve a clean home. You deserve a healthy life. You deserve those things. It is your job to convince yourself that you do and put things in place so that those things happen. Yeah. That's all. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Bye.